Here, it is emotional energy, of course. They lap it up. The human brain is a veritable dynamo, capable of outputting lots of good demon food, and they want it. The trick is to provide them with some accesses of the spurious energy without draining yourself dry as an empty wineskin. The energy of hatred, sex, desire, fear, nervousness, apprehension, or sorrow are all tasty morsels to them, and once they get used to feeding at your trough, they will come back for more. Very, very interesting. I pointed out in the Magic in the Matrix um, how the demons use food, use our emotions for food, and it's just like Monsters Inc., where you got these demons coming in from random portals, these stargates, or these points in space that are connected, and they're actually just showing up, drinking from your trough, uh, basically scaring the hell out of you, and you know soaking up your energy, and then heading on back. So hidden in plain sight, of course. Oh, and this is a book called The Black Book of Satan, put out by a group called Order of the Nine Angles. And when asked, what is satanic magic, well, at least when on the subject of the definition, satanic magic is simply the use of magical forces or energies to enhance the life of an individual or individuals according to their desires. This usage can be of two types. The first is external and the second is internal. External magic is essentially sorcery, the changing of external events, circumstances, or individuals in accordance with the wishes of the sorcerer. Internal magic is the changing of the consciousness of the individual magician using certain magical techniques. This is essentially the quest of the initiate for the higher grades of magical attainment, the following of the way of adeptship. Usually, the word initiate is like somebody who aspires to be converted and changed around. Here's a book called Black Witchcraft. What holds tradition among some adepts is the commitment of the Luciferian spirit within. This is the mind of the practitioner, which has been liberated through antinomian practices and thought by this determined focus that the will of the black adept has transformed he or she into a demonic being. With ancient Persian practice, the Ahriman Satan created demon Achaman, meaning is the Luciferian mind which seeks liberation and independence from the mass of the herd mentality, to become something other by the forbidden or evil path of magic or witchcraft. And look at it, become something other. Yeah, and they got a little quotes there. And of course they always put around quotes around demon, evil, so that they're sticking true to there is no right and wrong. But notice there how they used separate words. That's completely unnecessary, and you'll see them do it time and again. Where you have airman, also another name for Satan. So they do that quite a bit, like in the same sentence. That's completely unnecessary, but they do it. Now this is Aleister Crowley's One Star in Sight. He will thus prepare himself properly for the crisis of his career in the order, the attainment of the knowledge and conversation of his holy guardian angel. His angel shall lead him anon to the summit of the order of the R.C., and make him ready to face the unspeakable terror of the abyss which lies between manhood and godhood. Teach him to know that agony, to desire that destiny, to will that catastrophe, and to keep silence forever as he accomplishes the act of annihilation. It says right there, from the abyss comes no man forth. I mean, it's just like, handing it to you in some cases. Now, this is a book called Beholders of Night. The adversary is called and known by many names and titles. Among them are such as Shaitan, Iblis, Satan, Lucifer, and Set. Such god forms are masks of the Prince of Darkness, who within ourselves offers freedom and divinity for those who are willing to strive for it. Now, like I said, look at what he did there. He gave a million names there. Not a million, but Shaitan, that is, Shaitan and Iblis, those come from Islamic. That's specifically Iblis is the name specifically given to the demon Satan by Muslims. So they gave you a bunch of names for the same character and then tells you it's the same character. It's the Prince of Darkness. And there you can see that this guy has also drawn a correlation between Set, Lucifer, and Satan. You will find that this is quite common. In fact, you will find that when they speak of the all-seeing eye, they call it the all-seeing eye of the dragon. Set, the eye of Set, is Satan. So apparently that's Satan is Set in Egyptian mythology. Just more of that. And they're familiar with it and comfortable with it. Now here's a book called Goetia Luciferian. Black witchcraft is working with adverse or black forces, which are translated as shadow aspects of the sorcerer's psyche. These shadows of the self are essential to our own self-development and becoming as individuals. It requires that the witch be well disciplined and also be well balanced, saved from the gates of failure and madness. To look into the eye of Set and Lilith Hecate, or even Ahriman, is to face off forces which would devour any not prepared to become bearers of the black flame, a Luciferian spirit within themselves. Once this pact is made, when the sigillum diaboli is upon the mind, spirit and body, then there is no turning back, only the ascension of the spirit as beyond the mortal clay. And like I spoke of, and beneath the surface, this pact requires essentially it's called the oath, and its reason it's called the oath is because it involves a selling of your soul and taking some kind of irreversible oath. And sometimes you'll hear it as the pact. Same book, Goetia Luciferian. The demonic or infernal aspect or body of shadow is equally as significant as the development of the self. The shadow is developed by meditation initially and eventually by dreaming. One should approach the shadow as the devil initiate guide, be it as Mephistopheles, Belial, Luciferage, or Shaitan. Some of these names. Some Luciferians invoke the shadow as the demonic feminine as a Lilith, Hecate, or Babylon. See, multiple names. The crimson mother of succubi and the beasts of the earth. Some view Ahriman as correctly the initiatic and sorceress demon of the shadow. The shadow is the vampiric guide, the shape-shifting and phantom body of the self. The Luciferian path works with such demonic forces as initiatic guides and is related directly to the self. The shadow is significant as the adversary, as it is the dreaming body with sloghs off the waking world for the dreaming or astral plane to go forth to the Sabbath, or the darkness of night. This is the immortal and fiery eye of shadow. I apologize for tripping up on some of these. Reading these Luciferian texts are often, they write them cryptically and they use names that are hard to pronounce. And like I said, this is not in any way organized presentation. Before us, this book is called Infernal Sabbath Live. Before us, Lilith, queen of those who walk the shadows. I come before you, night born of the queen of the dead. Behold unto my death mask, the temple of Azathoth, as a current of the living flame. I shall bless each one of you with the devil's sight. The serpent's tongue shall speak of the secret alphabet, which ye shall scribe on the walls of the sunless palace. Scribe your name in the black book of the dead. You are all my children of Lilith Hecate. Your father is Ahriman, lord of phantoms and darkness. This use of the word Ahriman is quite common, and the name is simply a reference to Satan, or it's just another name for the dragon, really. And Lilith is the whore of Babylon, the same character from the Bible. And what I'm trying to point out with this particular quote is the fact that it's mentioned as though you've got to take some kind of like oath. Because if you look, it says you have to scribe your name on the walls of the sunless palace, and in the Necronomicon it was